Hi guys, I'm Rachel. I'm going to be talking to you guys today about us in preschool and our school-wide implementation plan. First, about Ellison Preschool. It is an inclusive preschool that serves kids 3 to 5 years of age. It serves a total of 200 kids. Of the 200 kids, 150 are special education kids and 50 are regular education. It has 20 classrooms with 8 to 12 kids per class. Each classroom has 1 teacher and 2 assistants. There are also 2 speech therapists, 1 occupational therapist, 1 physical therapist, and 1 BCBA in the school. Why is there a need for change? There are a lot of students at Ellison Preschool who lack basic communication. Of the 50 students who receive speech, 25 are nonverbal. Of the nonverbal students, 5 use PECS and 20 grunt or point to what they want. There are a lot of problem behaviors during playtime, which include fights between students and tantrums. Problem behaviors usually start when a student takes a toy without asking or plays without asking. Nonverbal students need to have a way to ask for what they want rather than just taking. So for this reason, we're going to use PECS. So what is PECS and how will it help? PECS is a picture exchange communication system. PECS is a functional communication system that teaches children to communicate by exchanging pictures. Functional communication has been shown to replace challenging behaviors by teaching children how to appropriately communicate what they want. If children are given a way to ask for what they want, they will not have to engage in the problem behaviors to get what they want. PECS will give the nonverbal students a way to communicate what they want. This should help reduce the problem behaviors at Ellison Preschool. There are some current practices at Ellison Preschool that will serve as facilitators and barriers. First, for the facilitators. There are an ample amount of staff for implementation. There are also a group of professionals who are extremely familiar with PECS. There are typically developing children in each classroom who can also assist the nonverbal children in using PECS. For the barriers, it is an inclusive preschool. This means that the teachers and staff will not be able to solely focus on the plan because they will need to assist the other students in learning as well. Some of the teachers might be unwilling to take advice from others. The plan will also result in additional work for the teachers, and they may not want to implement the plan.
There are 6 phases of PECS. The first phase, the student learns to exchange a single picture for an activity or a toy that he or she wants. During the second phase, the student then learns to generalize that skill of exchanging one picture to different instructors in different classrooms around the school and from novel distances. During phase 3, more pictures are introduced to the student. So they will have to discriminate between the different pictures to ask for what they would like. And the pictures are placed on a book or a binder, which would be specifically used for PECS. During phase 4, students learn to expand on their request by using a detachable strip with a simple sentence. Example sentence could be, I want, or I would like. They also learn to expand on the sentence using adjectives, verbs, and prepositions. During phase 5, students learn to answer questions such as, what do you want to play with? They will answer that by picking the picture of the item that they want. And during phase 6, students learn to respond to questions such as, what is this, or what do you see? And they might place the picture on the sentence strip that says, I see blank. So for planning for implementation, today we will role play with one another to get some hands-on experience of how to implement PECS, and so that we can answer any questions that you may have while we are role playing. Once the teachers are trained, we will also train typically developing peers, and they will be trained for 4 days for 30 to 45 minutes each day. First, they will start to learn about PECS and understand why we're implementing it and how it will help their classmates. Following their understanding of PECS, we will train them on how to prompt their classmates if the circumstance arises. So if one of their peers needs a prompt, they would first hold up the desired object. So if a classmate thinks that one of their peers is interested in having a doll, they would hold up the doll. If within 5 seconds that classmate does not respond, they would then point to the picture of the doll while holding up the object. Following that, if there's still no response, they would then hand over hand prompt their classmate to take the picture of the object that they want. And if there is still no response after that, the student would then be advised to seek out the assistance of a teacher. And this is
a video of a therapist training another therapist how to implement PECS with a learner. I'll go ahead and start playing it. Yeah. As you'll see, this learner has never used PECS before, so she's only presenting 2 pictures. They will end up using a partial physical to guide her into the direction of the picture that she needs, just to get her to be able to attain the reinforcer. Yay! And apple delivery. So they did a hand-over-hand prompt, well, posture physical really, just to get her to pull the right picture, and then quickly presented her with the reinforcer. So that reinforcer was presented with immediacy. This will show the learner that, you know, as soon as she pulls it, she gets what she needs. You can also see there is discrimination there between 2 completely different foods. We have a banana and apple, even though they're both fruit. They're very different as far as like texture and taste goes. So we were hoping that this could help her choose the food that she actually does want.
Yay! Good job! Yay!
And then to test her, we did move around each picture as well to see if she was going to go to the same picture. So if she was really motivated for bananas, she would move to she would hit bananas no matter what direction they were in on the board.
Which one? All right, so she's getting, let's do partial, yeah. Apple, girl, apple. Yay.
So as you can see there, as soon as she chose the correct, or not the correct one, but whichever preference she chose, we immediately provided her with that choice. They're right behind the board. We lifted the board. There it was. Just, again, that immediacy really reinforces the choice and teaches her that this is what she's choosing and this is the meaning of PECS. It definitely is a positive functional communication tool. So for data collection, it will be done during playtime. It'll be done within 10-minute intervals. We will be recording total MANs per 10-minute interval, and the MANs can include anything that's vocal or PECS, American Sign Language, or gestural, so anything that they're pointing to something or guiding. We will also be recording ABC data to see what any maladaptive behaviors that arise, mainly because any of those behaviors could be due to a non-effective communication, basically unable to access preferred items or activities, not able to communicate that. Afterwards, maintenance data will also be recorded after the implementation. Here are just some examples of some data sheets. So here's one just for beginning to record MANs. This is the student will request reinforcing items or activities. And again, this can be done with MANs or with PECS. The next one is more advanced criteria because it's spontaneous communication. So this is something they're going to request without the item being present. So if they're not seeing it, but there's a motivation for it, they're going to ask for it. This is another interesting data sheet. So this one also uses a CMOT to evoke MANs by increasing the motivation to request a needed item. So basically, you're going to present the student with a crayon. And what do they need with crayon and paper? So if you give them a crayon, but on your PECS board you have an image of paper, they're going to want to draw with that crayon. What are they going to need the paper? So it's going to create that motivation for them to pull the PEC of the paper to attain the paper.
So each classroom has one teacher and 2 assistants. There are also 4 to 6 volunteers that are available that could be trained by the teachers if there was more assistance that was needed. There are also 2 speech therapists and 1 BCBA at school, so there would be more than enough staff per classroom to implement PECS. And each classroom has 8 to 12 students, so there are also enough peers for the peers to implement PECS with their classmates. And in the school, 5 students already have exposure to PECS along with some staff, so they would also be able to assist with implementing PECS if anyone had questions, etc. So PECS falls under the Tier 2 or the secondary level, and the Tier 2 is for small groups of children that share a common problem and need a more individualized intervention. So at Ellison Preschool, there's that group of students that are nonverbal and need an individualized intervention to communicate with their teachers and peers, which is why we would be implementing PECS.
All right, for the funding streams, basically, are there funds to create PECS? Well, we need to keep in mind the materials, the training, and the production. As far as materials, the materials utilized in creating PECS are available in the teacher workroom, which is funded yearly by the district special services. Training, we have hired a district BCBA, as other districts have, and that BCBA will be trained the staff. And as far as production goes, with assistance from the BCBA, teachers and therapists will make their own PECS boards. Working in a school district, costs for training materials will be provided due to allocated funds from the public school system. For conducting audits and reorganizing current resources, here we're really just going to focus on the current resources. Basically, all resources necessary for the creation of PECS are available. Again, let's consider the materials. We need boards or folders, construction paper, a color printer and laminate paper, and lamination machine, and all that's on site. Again, that is all funded through the public school system. Training, the district employs a BCBA as a full-time staff member for special services. That way we don't need to hire someone outside of our district and pay a consult fee. We already have one. So training will be provided from that BCBA at no additional cost. Teachers will be trained after school hours. However, their time and additional hours will be used as comp time. So if our training does go over the time limit for the teachers in which they're paid, their time will be counted as comp time. Strategies for personal utilization, the capacity for teaching staff's professional development. If you are learning how to implement PECS, that really is in itself is going to help a teacher reacquaint themselves with a really positive intervention that they can use down the road for any other learners having communication issue. Educational success and skill set will expand and improve the utilization of PECS intervention due to expected improvement of functional communication amongst the students. This will help the classroom in the end. There's obviously a need for functional communication, and PECS is a very good first step to initiate that improvement. PECS boards are sturdy, tangible objects that can not only be used numerous times and throughout the school year, but that can also be easily updated or recreated if need be. I know we all work with first then boards, and sometimes it's on a flimsy piece of paper, but with PECS, we have it on something sturdy. We can adapt it, we can change it. Students' preferences change. One item that might be super reinforcing one day is not going to be reinforcing the next day, and that's the beauty of using PECS, is that it is something you can easily update to fit and individualize to the student. So due to the method of implementing the PECS intervention, the on-site BCBA and behavior therapist will be the only other personnel required to train the teachers.
So for supporting policy, not much changes needed. The parents just needed to sign a consent form for the children to participate, and the policy needs to allow the BCBA to come in and teach the teachers and observe as well.
For the operational procedures to implement the strategy, so teachers, aides, and speech therapists will be really implementing this, but peers will also be trained with PECS, as stated before. So all these people are going to be involved in helping. It'll be implemented throughout the whole classroom, throughout the day. We'll be focusing mainly on playtimes where there is the problems with sharing, but they will also be used, when as needed. So if they're in a group and they need materials, their PECS board will always be with them so they can always communicate. The PECS will be introduced in phases. So once a child has met the criteria, the next phase will be introduced. So each child will move at their own pace as they need, but they will all be going through the same phases. As mentioned before, the materials that are needed are really just laminated pictures of desired items, a small binder or a laminated board, Velcro, laminated sheets of paper so you can put into the book, as shown in the pictures below, and some ribbon if you would like for them to be able to wear it around their necks. So professional development activities, it's really just through school trainings, the PowerPoints that we're providing today. There will also be follow-up trainings throughout the year so that we can make sure we're still on board and we know what's happening. We can troubleshoot ideas. You may always see outside professional development through professional development hours throughout the district. And you will have consulting time with your speech therapist monthly so that you guys can really collaborate and work together.
Some cyber costs with the materials will be at the cost of the school, like I said earlier. So things that are in the teacher's classroom already, or things that can be purchased through the school. The training will be taught by the BCBA, so on a training day after school. And then teachers will train parent volunteers as well. No new staff will be needed, and there will be no difference in the salary. And then parents and community can be involved. So the parents, while at home, can be taught by the teachers. And then while they're at home, they can use PECS with their child. And anywhere they go, they can use it. So while they're in the community, they can use it to help generalize PECS as well. During that training day for the teacher or for the parent volunteers, the other parents can also go in and learn if they would like, and they will be asked to implement it outside of the school.
So just some final tips for implementation is just be consistent, give that immediate reinforcement right after they ask for it, and generalize it. Make sure they're doing it throughout their day, not just within the classroom in one setting. Make sure they're doing it across all teachers throughout the school building so they really understand this important skill of communication.